Hey everyone, I just want to thank all of you for your support for my last video. Personally, I think it was a great success. A lot of people watched it, a lot of shares, but the fight's not over yet. Please, if you haven't, please share my video about opioid use and Narcan training. Share the link on Facebook and YouTube if you can, guys. So you guys know by now that May is considered Mental Health Awareness Month. And every week I talk about a certain subject that deals with mental health. This week's video I'll be talking about the basics of stress and mindfulness and the relationship between the two. So let's start. Stress, what is it? According to the National Institute of Mental Health, stress is how the brain and the body responds to any demand. In the book, The Mindfulness Breakthrough states that stress is basically a natural instinct to ensure survival. We can say during the primitive times, we acted a lot like animals. And with that being said, let's get into why do we stress? Well, with animals, depending on their perception, animals respond in one of two ways. If an animal thinks that their strength is sufficient enough to win a fight, they'll get ready to fight. And in the other hand, if an animal thinks that they are weak or have no shot of winning, they will prepare to flee. We call this term fight or flight response. And this is basically why we stress. So what happens when the body is stressed? There's a lot of things that go on, but here's a diagram and a quick summary of what is actually going on when we're stressed. The amygdala, basically it's where your memories and your fears are evaluated. The hypothalamus, basically the control center of your nervous system, and the adrenal cortex. This is basically where stress hormones are produced. Whether the threat is physical, mental, or emotional, the body responds by preparing itself for a fight or flight. As you may know already, it's not good to be always stressed. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, those same life-saving responses that help you gear up for action can also suppress your immune system, digestive system, your sleep pattern, and your reproductive systems. But also understand this, that all stress is not bad for you. A certain amount of stress gives us a little zest of life and releases most of our creativity. Here are some examples. You're dreading if you're gonna get a promotion at work and then you find out the next day you get it. That is what we call positive stress. Or how about when you're watching football, it's the last drive of the game and your favorite team scores. And that's what we call positive stress. Now we know what stress is and how it affects our body, let's go see whom does it affect. And I feel like you guys already know the answer, everyone. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, everyone feels stressed from time to time. Some people may cope with stress more effectively or recover from stressful events more quicker than others. There are different types of stress, all of which carry physical and mental health risk. In the book, The Complete Guide to Stress Management, everyone's perception of what constitutes a threat or demand is different. It's not only an actual coping ability, but also the perception of one's ability that is important. Basically, we all have different tolerance levels to stress. So take a look at this chart. While millennials ages 18 to 33 and Generation Xers ages 34 to 47 report the highest average stress levels, Boomers 48 to 66 and matures 67 years and older join them in reporting levels that are higher than they consider healthy. Stress has also increased for a considerable amount of Americans, regardless of age. Now let's take a look on gender. According to this chart, men and women report different reactions to stress, both physically and mentally. They attempt to manage stress in very different ways and also perceive their ability to do so, and the things that they stand in their way. Women are more likely to report physical symptoms associated with stress, but they are doing a better job connecting with others in their lives and at times, and these connections are important to their stress management strategies. So what cities in New York are the most stressful? This is the top 25 most stressful cities in New York. The study methodology includes odds of being a victim of violent crime, commute time, average hours worked per week, percentage of divorces, and percentages of income spent on housing. I'm not surprised that my town's not on this. It's kind of a peaceful area where I live, but also I'm kind of surprised that I saw Long Beach on this list. Number one, I did not see that come in. Every time I visit Long Beach, it seems peaceful, but I don't live there, so I would not know. If you live in Long Beach, let me know what you think about this. So now we know the basics of stress. How do we cope with that? There are many different ways, but one way I deal with stress is being mindful. Being mindful is not a cure to stress, it's more of a way to avoid stress. Principles of mindfulness goes back to 2,500 years and is a correlation of Buddhism. Mindfulness is having self-awareness all the time. Let's elaborate. According to Mindfulness Breakthrough, when we are being mindful, we are choosing to notice the details of our own experiences. just as they are in the moment, and without judging or trying to change them in the first instinct. Basically, what I got from that is not worrying about the past or the future. It's more accepting what is in front of you. Now, what's the connection between stress and mindfulness? The connection between stress and mindfulness is not about trying to fix the cause of stress or get rid of difficulties, but instead investigate our difficulties, because that is our experience at the moment. This is how you practice mindfulness. Choosing to notice some aspect of our experience and bringing a friendly interest to whatever we notice as we place out our focus of attention here. Slowing things down can help us have time to process all the information that is available, though it isn't essential to do things slowly. Mindfulness teaches us to get out of automatic pilot mode. It gives you a chance to place your intention. Instead of avoiding, you're simply approaching as you gently bring your curiosity to where it should be. You don't have to be imprisoned by drama created by your own thoughts. You can leave anytime you want. Ultimately, mindfulness helps us see a wider perspective. We recognize the story that we are telling ourselves, but we soon realize that everything that's happening in our head doesn't always tell the truth. There are many stresses that we cannot change, but there's one thing that we can change, and that is we can let go of stressing about them.